Glenhaven 2, we have a report of a house alight at number 8 Curtis Road, Kellyville. Kellyville pages have also been activated.
Glenhaven 2 responding, crew of 4, OIC, Captain.
Viacom, Kellyville 1 Bravo Blue.
Kellyville 1 Bravo, we have a report of a house alight at number 8 Curtis Road, Kellyville. Glenhaven 2 has also been paged and is responding with a crew of 4.
Kellyville 1 Bravo, responding crew of 4, 3 K-Bar, OIC, Senior Deputy.
Glenhaven and Kellyville pages activated for a report of a house alight, 8 Curtis Road, Kellyville.
What you're about to see is not in real time, but does demonstrate how a command and control system works and why it's best practice to use such a system. There are standard operating procedures for everyone involved in fireground operations. This begins with the dispatching of brigades. In this scenario, the first brigade on scene will be a Village 1 brigade, trained in defensive or external structural firefighting only. Regardless of the type of brigade, the crew should be allocated tasks by the crew leader prior to arrival. The first arriving unit crew leader, in most cases, would be allocating the task of deploying attack lines. One line consisting of 2 lengths of 38mm hose with a pistol grip fog nozzle is a minimum. If the first arriving brigade is not breathing apparatus equipped, they can still get the attack line ready at the front door for the BA crews to use for the primary search. This means when the crews are doing the search, they have protection for themselves and an avenue of escape.
Viacom, Glenhaven 2 Blue.
Go ahead, Glenhaven 2.
Glenhaven 2 has arrived on scene, 8 Curtis Road, Kellyville. Weatherboard home approximately 20 by 30, smoke issuing. Just putting crews to work now will require further assistance.
Glenhaven 2, Kellyville 1 Bravo, did you copy Glenhaven 2, initial sitrep?
Kellyville 1 Bravo.
The first arrival sitrep is what the first arriving officer sees and paints a picture for the dispatcher and any incoming units. This sitrep should include the size and type of building, fire activity and severity. The IC must complete a full 360-degree size-up of the building and establish if any persons are still inside. The IC should also ensure the power has been disconnected. A quick size-up of this fire has determined a going fire in the front bedroom of the house. The controller has an immediate need for search and rescue and is the first priority after arrival.
Before committing resources, the incident controller needs to choose between an offensive or defensive strategy. Offensive strategy involves an aggressive interior attack with K-bar equipped and trained firefighters only. The goals are rescue occupants and quickly extinguish the fire. For obvious reasons, offensive strategies should be used whenever possible. However, if fire conditions prevent an interior attack, a defensive strategy should be used, with all efforts focused on protecting exposures.
Viacom, Glenhaven 2 Blue.
Go ahead, Glenhaven 2.
We have a fire in a front bedroom of a single level house. There's no threat to any other structures at this point in time. Setting up an offensive attack line for BA crew when they arrive. Can you please page another BA equipped crew, and will also require police, electricity and ambulance. I will be known as Curtis Control. All other brigades are to arrive on scene and get me on fire ground 1.
Copy Glenhaven 2. You have a single-storey house with fire in the front bedroom. You will be Curtis Road Control and all units are to contact
you on fireground 1.
The IC has now delivered his first informative sitrep using F-task format. He has established and announced he is in control and allocated a fireground channel so as to free up the dispatch channel as soon as possible. It takes 4 BA operators to combat a basic structure fire. In this case, Curtis Control has requested 6 to ensure a rapid intervention capability and enough resource for overhaul and mop up. Even if the structure is well alight and a defensive strategy is used, more BA operators may be required for overhaul. Order big and order early. What the IC does in the first 5 minutes can make all the difference for the next 5 hours. It may be necessary to hand over the incident control role to someone more experienced, or obtain some significant assistance from someone who has a working knowledge and training in offensive structural firefighting. Ego and tradition have no place in this type of incident. This is especially true if the incident is growing and firefighters are committed to an internal attack. If you must remain in charge for whatever reason, appoint an experienced operations officer who is BA qualified, has a comprehensive understanding of internal structural firefighting.
What do you need?
Mate, we've got a fire in the front bedroom. We've got an attack line out. Need the BA crews in there as soon as possible.
Yep.
Can you be my operations officer?
No problem, I'll get the guys in straight away.
Thanks.
This person can be your eyes and ears and move around the fire, continuing to allow for a shared 360-degree view. The BA Control Officer, or BACO, is an extremely important position. They do not have a command role as such, but are principally concerned with the safety of the internal crews. One option for the BACO is to assist the IC by drawing a map and note any significant developments during the operation. This task, however, may not be appropriate if the internal operation is changing rapidly or the operation has grown to a Stage 2 BACO board with over 6 operators inside. The BACO should be a BA operator or have a high level of understanding of internal structural firefighting operations. They are definitely not a leftover person on the fireground without a job to do. It is for this reason the BACO and IC should be close to each other at all times. The IC and the BACO should set themselves up in a relatively quiet space at the corner of the building where they can see as much of the operation as possible.
The order of actions on a structure fire are extremely important. ARSO is the acronym used to list these priorities. Arrival is what we've just seen, setting up the fireground for success. A command structure is in place, everyone knows what's going on, safety has been prioritised, and firefighters are ready to get on with the job. Rescue is the next priority, getting people away from the danger. Suppression is next, however rescue and suppression can happen at the same time. Overhaul is the last but not least. You certainly don't want the embarrassment of missing a victim or having the fire reignite after you leave.
With one BA team committed and the knowledge that a second is close by, the IC has continued to stay within the priority of actions. Outside, the IC continues to have all the support functions set up and ready.
Glenhaven 2, can you please set up a first aid and welfare area to the side of Glenhaven 2?
The next arriving crew will be tasked to establish a water supply to the first arriving truck.
Curtis Control, Calibre 1.
Calibre 1, can you please set up a supply line to Glenhaven 2?
Calibre 1 has 2 BA operators on board, who will form the second BA team. The first crew is searching near the source of the fire, and also have started the suppression role. This second team will also need their own hose line to ensure their safety during the search. The water supply from Calibre 1 has ensured that Glenhaven 2 can supply an adequate water supply for both BA teams inside. Inside crews should be labelled as they enter, BA1, BA2, etc. On larger jobs you may include taskings such as search crew, fire attack or ventilation. The IC should only need to task the teams, not tell them how to do their job. If the crews are trained and know their SOPs, they will achieve the task.
Curtis Control, Rouse Hill 1.
Rouse Hill 1, can you please stage outside the property?
The next arriving crew are staged a short distance from the incident. This allows the IC time to think and ensure everything is on track. He then can give clear instructions to the staged crew rather than dealing with the clutter that would occur if all trucks came straight to the scene.
Rouse Hill 1, can you please have your cable crew down as a rapid intervention team to my location, please?
A rapid intervention team, or RIT, are there in case something goes wrong with the teams inside. They should be ready to start up and enter immediately, and position themselves close to the IC and BACO so they can be tasked quickly.
A second hose line may need to be deployed for exposure protection. Be aware of FIR, flame-induced reaction, when firefighters arrive and immediately begin to squirt water onto any flame they see. This is not necessarily going to help the situation. In fact, in some cases, this type of action has spread the fire into areas of the house that would not have normally been affected if an interior attack was undertaken first, even if it was a little later.
In this case, the exposure protection line has come from one of the other trucks outside the immediate fireground. This task can be carried out by non-BA trained firefighters. However, it must be in coordination with internal operations.
Control, this is BA1. We've completed our primary search and nothing found.
Firecom Curtis Control.
Go ahead, Curtis Control.
Yeah, Firecom, a primary search has been done on this property. Nothing has been found.
Copy, Curtis Control. You have completed the primary search.
The first objective after arrival has been met, and a clear message is sent so that everyone knows where the operation is up to. This message also shows the operation is progressing in a timely manner with an unlikely need for more resources. The next priority is fire control, and at this fire it follows quickly after the primary search has been completed.
Curtis Control, this is BA2. The fire is under control.
Firecom Curtis Control.
Curtis Control.
Yeah, just advising that this fire is now under control.
Copy, Curtis Control. The fire is now under control.
Tired firefighters are accidents waiting to happen. The initial rush and suppression effort is exhausting on internal attack crews. A welfare area should be already set up, ready to receive the BA crews as they exit the building. Before going straight to the welfare area, BA1 will brief the RIT team, who will now take on the overhaul role. The IC should ensure that all outside operations are aware of this significant change in firefighting activity and have the support organised accordingly.
Firecom just advising that we're now entering overhaul stage.
BA2 are still inside the building and have started overhaul, waiting for the RIT team, who will change their call sign to BA3. BA3 will bring in any other tools or equipment needed for the overhaul operation. Communications planning for these types of incidents is crucial. In most cases, the fireground channel will be used for both internal and external operations, particularly if the initial phases of the firefighting are hectic and requiring coordination between the internal and external operations, such as fire attack and ventilation.
In this case, the fireground comms have been divided into two distinct areas using two separate channels. The external operation is monitored by the incident controller and includes all arriving crews, the pumper operators, exposure protection crews, first aid and welfare areas, as well as any other outside support function. The internal operations are monitored by the backhoe and operations officer. There is a radio with each of the BA teams inside and the RIT team. Communications from inside the building are passed via the backhoe to the IC. These two key people in the operation are next to each other at all times. The operations officer is able to move around the scene and report back to the backhoe and IC. This ensures that any issue experienced by the teams inside are able to be communicated quickly without interruption from outside operations, making it a much safer operation in general. The IC is the only person that talks to Firecom during the incident.
As the operation winds down, the crews begin to pack up. The IC needs to stand crews down in a logical order. It may be appropriate to stand earlier arriving crews down first and leave the later arriving crews to finish mopping up. However, most volunteer crews see it as their duty to remain until the whole job is complete. Before leaving, dirty PPE may need to be hosed down and bagged to avoid contamination and taking the toxic products of fire to places they shouldn't go. Another consideration is the congregation of firefighters close to the structure, either during or after the main fire activity. If the residents or victims of the fire are close by, they certainly don't want to have the brigade meeting or the often jovial conversation happening within earshot of their bad day.
No two fires are the same, and not all operations go as planned. Some fires don't give you many options. Crews don't behave how you expect, and everyone starts running around like it's a full moon. It's during these times, however, that you need a fire command system that you can fall back on to bring order to the chaos. This is difficult work, and for most volunteer firefighters, a rare and often unrehearsed event. Having a system that assists in running these events will make the operation run more efficiently, more effectively, and most important, more safely.